Anita and I'm back with another video. Today I wanted to share with you a weekly wrap-up. Actually, it's 2 weeks worth of wrap-up. I didn't film a wrap-up video last week, and one of my reasons was that I didn't have a lot of things that I'd read, and then another thing was that I was very busy last weekend, so I prioritized not doing it since I only had 2 books to talk about. This week I have 5 books to talk about, so I've finished 3 more books over the past week. And let's talk about the books that I've been reading. The first thing that I finished over the past couple of weeks was A Murder is Announced by Agatha Christie. This is the next book in the... It must be the 4th book. Yeah, I think it's the 4th book in the Miss Marple. A Murder is Announced was definitely very interesting. It was a lot better than the previous one. I think it's my favorite one since the first one I read in the series. This one follows this small town, and they read a paper, and it says, there's sort of a newspaper ad in the paper saying that on this day, at this time, in this theater or whatever, a murder is going to happen. And so yeah, it's announced like that, and a lot of people just a lot of people think that that's probably just some fun little thing that they're doing in terms of this weird thing that they're hosting. There's sort of a whole thing going on, but obviously as time, what happens is that there is actually a murder taking place, and so obviously it becomes a mystery of who did that. Yeah. I liked it a lot more than the previous one, as I said. I thought it was a good mystery this time around, and the characters were more interesting to follow. And I yeah, definitely enjoyed it more. So I ended up giving it 4 out of 5 stars. The next thing that I finished was Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. This I read for a vlog I recently uploaded. I did a sort of random thing where I picked out a book from each of the shelves that this number landed on. And this had been on my TBR long list for the year, so I was really eager to read it, but at the same time I was also a little bit nervous about picking it up and not super liking it, and feeling like it was a very long book. But it's actually only just under 500 pages, so it's not that long. It looks like it might be over 500, somewhere in that way. This book is a standalone book. We are following Whalen, who is he wakes up in space after having been in a coma, and he doesn't know who he is. Actually, he doesn't know he's in space at the time, obviously, but he doesn't know anything. He doesn't remember anything. He just and doesn't know who he is exactly. And there's a lot of questions building up. So he has amnesia, and he finds out rather quickly that he is alone on the ship. That he was there with 2 other crew members, but they both passed away. And one other thing that he finds out is that he is on a sort of suicide mission. He is going on a one-way trip to save Earth, but there's no way he's ever going to be able to coming back, because they haven't found a solution on how to be able to do that, because this would only have enough power to get you out there and food enough for that time, but not the other way around. So yeah, but he comes into space and he has a mission of saving Earth, because there's something removing, sort of damaging the sun, so that the sun can't warm Earth up enough, basically. Yeah, he has already been on this ship apparently for a very long time already. He's been in a coma from the beginning, and yeah, and he meets an alien and has correspondences with him. Starts communicating with them and figuring things out, and they're sort of helping each other, trying to save both of their planets, if you will. And it's a really interesting book. I love this one a lot more than Artemis. This one is definitely one of the things that I've noticed that Andy Weir is really good at, sort of making everything seem realistic. This is definitely something that could have happened if this is the situation we're in. It seemed very well researched in that way, and at the same time we're also following the perspective of a main character that has a lot of humor and self-irony, and which makes it for a very, very fun read. I definitely laughed out loud a couple of times. For me, it's not up there with The Martian itself. I think The Martian is a better book, but I still really enjoyed my time with it, and I definitely will recommend it to anyone who is interested in reading sci-fi and has, or maybe it will be something that if you haven't picked out sci-fi before, I still think you will be able to pick this up and have enjoyment in it. There's a sort of thing about this one. It's sort of told in 2 types of perspectives. One of them is sort of the present one while Ryland Grace is on the spaceship, and then the way that he gets his memory back sort of shows flashbacks into the previously in his life before he was on the spaceship, and what led up to this and how he came to be where he is, sort of sporadically as time goes on. So sometimes it could be a little bit weird being thrown back into the flashbacks while you're in space and there's a lot of things going on, but then suddenly you have to see things from before. But at the same time, it couldn't have been the same type of book, and it would have been a lot more boring if it was told in while it was going on. Like he would mention this is how things work and why. So it makes it that way. It makes it a little bit more dynamic, I think. So in terms of rating, I ended up giving it 5 out of 5 stars because I definitely really enjoyed it and had a fun time with it and wanted to come back to it all the time when I was reading it. So that's a really good sign for me. As I said, it's not up there with The Martian, but it doesn't have to be in order to be a 5-star. This is still very good, and I will recommend it to anyone who is interested in the topic. So the next thing that I read was Amulet Volume 4 by Kazu Kibuishi. This is called The Last Council. This one, it has been so long since I read the Volume 3 that I had completely forgotten what was happening. But they've come to this place where the guard, no, what are they called? The Guardian Council, yeah. So the Guardian Council is at this place, and they've sought them out because there's something happening, and they're obviously saving humanity and stuff. But then she finds out that things aren't really what they seem, and she is led there, and yeah, I can't really explain very much about it because it's difficult when it's a little bit into the series, and I don't want to spoil it. It's very short. So it's definitely an interesting book, but there were definitely some deceivery going on in this one, and I enjoy the characters. Some of the side characters are my favorites though. So but I'm looking forward to reading on in it. I gave it 4 stars. I love the artwork. It's a lot of fun. And the next thing I finished was A Conspiracy of Kings by Meghan Whalen Turner. This is book 4 in the Queen's Thief series, and this one is definitely a very good book. I definitely think it's a solid fantasy book and a solid addition to this series. However, this one doesn't follow the perspective of Eugenides, who is the perspective we've been following for the past couple of all of the books previously, and he's a really good main character. He's a very lovable character as well, the one you really instantly seem to really care about. So it was a little bit weird not being with Eugenides and what he was doing in this one, but at the same time I still enjoyed my time with this one. It was definitely a good installment. I think Meghan Whalen Turner just writes really good fantasies, and apparently there are sort of young adult fantasies, but I feel like it could be a really good book, sort of a bridge between young adult and adult fantasy, because I don't think it feels very YA, but at the same time it's easy to get into because they're not super long, and there's a lot of political intrigue that's fun to follow, and you had the pretty young characters that you're following in terms of Eugenides. And in this one it was, I can't remember his name, is bad. Sonos or something like that. I definitely enjoyed it, gave it 4 out of 5 stars. He was a prince, he became a slave and everything, so there was a lot of things going on in this one. So yeah, enjoyed it, gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Still, I think my favorite was The Queen of Atolia so far. The King of Atolia was really good as well. But I enjoyed it, so definitely, yeah. And last and finally, I've finished The Burning Bridge by John Flanagan. This is the second book in the Ranger's Apprentice series, and this is a series that follows Will. Will becomes an apprentice in the first book, a Ranger's Apprentice, and they are sort of different to usual knights and stuff, that they are able to sort of move along in the world sort of unseen. They can sort of sneak up on people if they want to. They are really good with archers. In archery, and they have sort of specific horses. They are very shorter and not as big as the battle horses are, but they definitely have a big worth there in this country. In this one we see from the prologue and that there is okay, so one of the things is that they are this Arulian, where our main character is from. They are at war with Lord Mogarath. It's difficult to say that. And in the first prologue thing, we see Will, his master, and some other people coming on to a group of Wargles, who are sort of bears-like creatures. They're part of Mogarath's army kind of thing, and they kill them off, and they find sort of different battle plans with very specific details about what they're going to do. And obviously you have to take it back to the king, because important information, you know, and sort of preparing them for this battle. But what they don't know is that there's Mogarath, or one of his people, is watching alongside, making sure this is happening. So they want this to happen because they have a different plan in mind, and will be coming a backhand attack kind of thing, to sort of yeah, making sure they taking them off guard and stuff, and have an advantage in that way. But the people here don't know this, but you as a reader know this. So this is sort of the way that they're figuring things out over the time. Will is going on a quest with Galen, who is a ranger, and Horace, who is a battle school apprentice. They go on sort of a quest to figure some things out, and they meet a young girl on the way who has sort of the only survivor in this place, and she claims that she's sort of a maid to some girl. And it goes from there. There's a lot of things going on, but I would have liked to have a little bit more of the things that happens at the academy, since it is an apprentice line story. I do really enjoy those type of things, but at the same time they're very, very short, so they couldn't really build. They had to build up this. There's a lot of battle scenes in this one compared to the first one, so he had to sort of decide which part of this would he add to this. But I think I've seen that some of the books in the later part of it are gonna be longer, so I guess it's sort of the time progresses, the world becomes a little bit more expansive. But at the same time, I don't mind too much about this. I still enjoyed my time with it, so I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. But had it had a little bit more of those things, it might have gotten a higher rating, I'm not sure. But I liked it. It's 4 stars. It definitely ended on a very big cliffhanger, so you want to pick up the next one. So I need to get my hand on the 3rd book, either from the library, either from getting it myself. We'll see what happens. So yeah. But that's the last and final thing that I've finished over the past weeks. I have a lot of books that I'm working on. One of them, first of all, I am listening to an audio of Barrier by Lois McMartin Bujold. I have very little left. I think I have half an hour left of the audio that I'm listening to, and I will finish that after I'm done with this, filming this today. But I haven't had time to finish it yet, and I obviously can't talk too much about it now since I haven't finished it yet. I will talk about it next week. I also am an hour and a half away from finishing Deathless Divide by Justina Island. I'm really enjoying this one as well, but I will again not talk about this until next week, obviously, when I finished it. And finally, I've also this past week started on The Martian Contingency. Actually, I started it today, and I've read the first 104 pages, and I'm very much enjoying it so far. It takes a little time to sort of get into the vibe of this. And this one, I thought it was just like them just getting to the to Mars, but it's actually a little bit time later. This is 18 years after the first book started, and a bunch of people have come to Mars, and they are sort of trying to settle and have a project of sort of making things work for them so that more people can come to Mars and actually live there, because things at Earth are not really good. So that's something, and so far I don't really know what's going on. There seems there are some people trying to sabotage things. We don't know who, and we don't know why, but it could be that it could be some of the first Earthers First movement people that has been sort of coming, sort of a terrorist group that's happened since the first book, because they want people to focus on Earth before this project, and making sure that Earth survives, which is impossible. And some other books, I still am working on both of these. This one I am budding reading with Shannon. I'm on chapter 3, page 76. I will try and see if I can read another chapter over the next week. We are doing it very slowly, so we are working having slow progress on them, but it's okay. And I haven't touched this one, so, but I'm hoping that I can use next week for sort of catching up on things, so maybe I could finish some of these. I'm also working on still Not So Nice Guy. I'm over halfway with it now. I think I'm around 60% maybe, so I should be able to finish that over the next week as well. I'm definitely enjoying it more than I did in the beginning, but it's definitely not going to be 5 stars. That's what I know at this point. So we'll see what ends up happening with the end here. So yeah, anyway, yeah. So those are all of the things that I've been working on over the past couple of weeks. I have started on way too many books at the same time. It's much easier for me if I have like 2 to 3 things going and I can finish those over a week. This was a little too much, but sometimes that happens. Hopefully it doesn't mean that I'll put any of them down anyway anytime soon, because I don't want to add to my current reading pile, which I've been really good at this year. I haven't done that this year yet, so I haven't added to it yet. That's what I want to say. Anyway, let me know in the comments down below if you've read any of the books that I've been talking about today, and what were your thoughts of it. Do you agree with any of my thoughts? Also let me know about that. Let me know in the comments down below if you've read any of the good books over the past week that you think you'd like to recommend to me. Also let me know about that in the comments down below. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next video very soon. Goodbye.